My name is Reverend Honeybee, and this is my story of experiencing afterlife. On January 8th, 2012, my heart stopped from the illness that had occupied my human vessel. And about 7:31 p.m., it completely stopped. And while my physical body was on the table, I came out of my body and I went up into the room and I looked down. And it was the very first experience of it was this lightness, this incredible, joyous lightness that felt so free, and this exhilaration of joy with it. And when I looked down, my body was very peacefully laying there, and it was this very disattached feeling to it. It was just so happy to be out of that form, and it was in this free-floating space. Very quickly after that, my body came out, and I have to say, when I say my body, I'm referring to spirit body. It was still a body that looked like my human body, yet it wasn't physically dense. It was lighter, it was freeing, it was glowing, and just very, very free in its essence. So as soon as it came out, it went out of the room, out of the building. This happened very, very quickly. And it went further out, and very quickly it came to what I would call like a stratosphere space. And it was a bit dark. And the very first thing that appeared before me in that spirit body that I was in was a figure that was luminous in a golden, pinkish, glorious light, and what we humans recognize as an archangel. And the reason why I say archangel is because it had this glowing, luminous radiance that seemed like as if it was wings, and it was telepathically communicated to me. That was Archangel Haniel. And she took her hand and put this kind of like a vapor, for the lack of better word, 3 rings of vapor that was also the same golden pink, very light pale color pink around my spirit body. And from there, then this lighter area showed up, and to my right, there was a corridor, and to my left, there was a corridor, and to my right, it was this beautiful sound of family members that I knew they were my family, and I could see my uncle, I could see my aunt, I could see my grandmother. They were all there, and they were clapping and clapping. There was a celebration, and I could see just this gorgeous, lush landscape with all of them were there. It was all the corridor, and then they were all standing there. And it was this fantastic feeling of being with all of them. They all looked so beautiful and radiant. And Archangel Haniel looked at me, and she pointed me into the left corridor, where it was almost like an oval shape, and inside of it seemed like a spiraling of just pure light. The light in it was a darker blue with like a royal blue and platinum color. And she pointed to me that I needed to go that way. And there wasn't any kind of questioning, negotiation, anything for just maybe for a split of a second. I looked to my family, and it was just understood that's another time. I have to go this way. So without any opportunity to question, I was directed into that area. And when my spirit body went in it, very quickly, it was like speed of light. It was so fast. The spiral tunnel of just streaming light that I went through. When I came out, I came to an area where the first awareness was there was no longer any kind of body of any kind. There was no spirit body, and it was consciousness. I was in an area where it was just pure, gorgeous, phenomenal, incredible pastel colors of no form, yet the best word I could say, if you imagine a nebula, when you see through the NASA telescope, the pictures they show, that doesn't even come anywhere closer, but something like that. And it was just so vast, so quiet, so gorgeous, so lush, so beautiful, and this purity that was just exhilarating in it. Hey, this space is the best way that I can say, and liberation. And from there, there was the awareness of I was there, yet I was no longer a body. It was the fullness of me in here, and I was part of it, and it was part of me. All were one. And it was this return of homecoming. And from there, the consciousness of mine began to sort of, again, lack of a better word, it's very difficult to capture these in words. It's almost like as if it moved to another area where I would say it was another dimensional consciousness from here. And as my consciousness appeared, I'm referring consciousness because there is no body. It's just consciousness, the observer that is seeing everything. Like a movie, yet it's inside the movie and it's interacting. Then when it approached this area, and this area seemed like it was brought into a very large room with these very distinct, what we would call windows, but they weren't windows. It seemed like there was a ceiling, and it was more of a round ceiling, and there were 12 beings that were there. These beings were blue in color, dark blue, and very tall, about, I would say, 18 to 20 feet tall. And they were translucent. There were no feet. You couldn't really see the face either. However, behind them was this luminous radiant of light. It was just gorgeous. And so there were 6 on this side and 6 on the other side. And when my consciousness arrived, it was telepathically communicated that they had been waiting for me. And I had no idea where I was, where this was. Yet the feeling inside was incredible. There was this, again, homecoming. I know it, yet I don't know where it is. I just know. I know I've been here before. I don't know where this is, and yet it's a home. It's finally home. This kind of feeling. So these 6 beings that were there, very quickly, there was a space in between them. Within that space, this kind of like a screen opened up, and this larger screen, and this screen began flashing very, very fast images, like at the speed of light, images of many, many, many lifetimes. It wasn't about just this lifetime. It was so many lifetimes, especially very significant historical lifetimes that I was an incarnation. And there were 844 lives, to be exact, to this that was passing. And again, it was so fast, yet everything was recognized understood, telepathically captured in the roles, the different bodies, the different incarnations, the different purposes, and all of that was discovered between this very fast flashing of the lives that was shown. And from there, then the consciousness of mind through these large beings, they brought this thing in the middle. And when I saw it, it was my consciousness saw it, it was a DNA. It was the DNA of my human self, which I didn't know it was the DNA of my human self in that exact second. Yet it was the DNA, and telepathically they communicated they're going to be adjusting certain things. And within that, there was this movement of the DNA and this golden strings that I want to say was being shown. And it was so beautiful. And telepathically, they said they're adjusting my DNA for this specific strands that it needed to have for the purpose of it. Again, in that second, there was no, I was just in awe of being home, experiencing. There was not even a thought that I would be stand back at all. So as I was experiencing this, they and then stood a little bit behind. It is almost like as if they took a step back, and telepathically they introduced themselves as the Arcturian Golden Council of 12. And it was so beautiful for me to telepathically recognize what they're saying, though my human self had no idea what Arcturians were, never even heard of it. So from there, then this light in the middle began coming sort of through. The screen were just not there anymore. And this piercing, glowing, blinding light started coming closer and closer and getting larger and larger and larger. And this light that I'm speaking of, there was one thing to see the light, then there was the experience of a love that was with it through its strands of light, through its luminous, cold and gorgeous, blinding. It was so hard to even be able to, even at a conscious awareness level, to be able to see it, because it was ginormous and beautiful. And the love was nothing that my human self had ever experienced. Even being a mother in this incarnation, experiencing that love of first becoming a mother couldn't even come close to it, anywhere near what was being experienced in this light. And as my consciousness moved kind of closer towards it to begin interacting with it, and this sort of like figure began to emerge from the light. As it began emerging, before it took semi of a form like the other ones, there was a voice, telepathic voice, that began speaking to me. And the second I heard that voice, my consciousness remembered this voice through this incarnation a few times, that at very, very significant moments in my life, where those simple words and was said something very specific that changed the direction of my life, and I never knew who it was. And as the figure began to take more into shape, as it came closer from light into a figure, it was beloved Master living Yeshua, the Christ. And I'm sharing this with you, the inside of me, yet the consciousness of me was ecstatic beyond anything. It was so beautiful experiencing the voice finally with the light, who he was. And he right away telepathically said to me, "You cannot be with us, my child. You must go back and share this. You'll be with us soon." And a few other things he said that I was asked that it remains for me not to share on this platform or anywhere. And with that, when he did this with his hand, it was a culmination of many things. One of the things that I want to share in this lifetime review that was shown to me from the many lives, what was very significant about this life was the soul agreement between me, my biological mother, my biological father, my brother, why we chose to come in. We'd incarnated with each other before. It was very clear in the soul agreement why we chose to take these roles, for what purpose, and why I had to incarnate in the Middle East, and why all those questions that my human self had wondered, everything was revealed to me. It was the book of my inner revelation was open, and everything was shown to me in crystalline clarity. And from there, when he did this, that you must go back and share this, what I want to share with you, it was the experience of the truth of the divine love that we are made of, and we return back to. That was the basis of this. So without any negotiation, without being able to say anything back, without being able to capture anything else, just like that, I was sent back, and it was beyond fast, like faster than the speed of light, faster than the speed of thought, faster than anything I could possibly imagine. And I was dropped into my body that had died, and it was so fast, like the crashing of it, and my human self jolted, and when I opened my eyes, it was this other presence inside the body that it was incredible. So from there, the entire life changed. Let me just share that with you. After I was sent back to my body, the very first thing that happened, within 3 days, my entire body was healed. And the doctors that I'm working with they couldn't understand, like, what happened? Like, what happened? And that was phenomenal. And I began having some of these extraordinary abilities as a child. And my first NDE experience, which ties into this, the day I became a superhero, that was when I was 7 in a fatal car crash. I had certain abilities. And after this, other abilities began showing. The thing that happened after was very difficult to be able to talk to people. For a long time, I couldn't speak because it was like, how do I even share what happened? There was also a feeling of, again, really isolation, and feeling almost foreign and embarrassed, ashamed. How do I say this to people? Yet the communication began because I was told very quickly after that 3rd day I was sent back to my body, I have to go on this thing called a mission. This mission was on 40 specific places on Earth. I had to go for what was called a planetary mission, and to bring this frequency of the crystalline love onto the planet. So the message that I have is that we are eternal as souls. The soul just does not die. The human body does transition from one form to another, and the soul continues. the soul has many journeys and it will come back again and again. And this idea of death truly is not real, because the soul continuously goes and it experiences not just afterlife, it experiences the fullness coming back to its origin of light, that love. And we come from love. We go back to love. And the thing that was so clear to me is come back and walk with love, not the human love, the divine love. Truly bring it in, embody it, and share it with your fellow brothers and sisters. And that has been my mission ever since. And I'm very thankful to have had this opportunity to share my story with you today. I have a children's inspirational book called The Day I Became a Superhero. My journey started at the age of 7 in the midst of a fatal car crash. And this is when I first came out of my body, had a full experience. And it is quite an exceptional story where 30 years later, I was asked to write about it. And this is on Amazon, and you can find me on social media everywhere at Reverend Honeybee, as well as on my YouTube channel, Honeybee. Thank you so much.